This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
Oh, what a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
The first official end of the NFL weekend was last night, and I gotta say, if you're a fan of any team that is not the Broncos, you're probably very happy that your head coach is not Nathaniel Hackett. Holy Toledo. We got a lot to get to in the aftermath of NFL Week 1. Reid Fowler from DraftKings joins us to get his thoughts on what's an overreaction, what is not an overreaction for NFL Week 1 moving forward. As always, you can join the conversation. 609-403-0973 is the text board. You also can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. I think that, last night's game was an incredible example of how two things can simultaneously be true. One, it is an incredible example of how on any given day in football, not just the NFL, but look at college. I mean, there are two major upsets on Saturday afternoon. In football, anybody can win any day of the week. And we saw it last night. The Seahawks don't have the talent from player 1 to player 53 that the Broncos do. But they came out more organized, more motivated, and frankly, less emotional, and that put them in a position to win the game. But on the flip side, what is also simultaneously true is that even though the Seahawks won, the Broncos head coach had a horrible game plan yesterday. And I know a lot of people are pointing to the final play, but I'm pointing to the full game. Ryan Clark brought this up last night on SportsCenter. Mike Gill mentioned it again this afternoon on the Sports Bash. And I think it's a very poignant and a very important thing to bring up. The Broncos decided to give Russell Wilson a contract that is in excess of $250 million. It's a contract he has a chance to make up to about $256 million, but the main number is 250. 250 is probably the most likely number he makes on the contract. You give this guy all this money. You traded away all of those players and those draft picks to bring him in. The whole point of having that guy is you're bringing him in with the understanding that, guess what? This guy is going to be a part of you winning. And instead, it's almost like they went out of their way to not make him a part of them winning. I think that Nathaniel Hackett, he said today to the media that if he had to do it over again, he would do things differently. And it's one of those things where you can say that after the game, but it's still a bad look. It's a bad look that you have a head coach, his first year, with a future Hall of Famer at quarterback, and you couldn't find a way to win the game. Because it's one thing, like, for example, it's one thing to say, okay, the Eagles, they had a rough game, but they still won the game, right? The same thing with Washington. Well, Wentz had 2 interceptions, but they still won the game, right? You can point to numerous situations, numerous scenarios, and you can say, but so-and-so still won the game. Guess what? They didn't win the game last night. You don't have a redeeming element. There is not a saving grace. There is not something to fall back on and say, well, this happened, so this happened, and we can do better for next time. You literally went out there and found a way to lose a game that everyone and their cousin expected you to win. There's not a single serious football person on planet Earth that thought the Seahawks was going to win last night. But they did. Because the Broncos head coach failed his team and failed his quarterback. Now, I'm not going to say you can't learn from it. Just like I told you guys yesterday, that I'm not going to sit here and act like that Jonathan Gannon won't learn from his mistakes. Anybody can learn from things. Everyone can improve on things. There's never a point in time where you can't grow as an individual. And I'll get to Jonathan Gannon in just a minute. But you have a situation last night where it's a perfect example of how the football coach may be the most important person in all of professional sports. Because here's the problem. A baseball coach has baseball and hockey coaches are more so managers of people than they are managers of the game. So when a team wins or loses, I have trouble giving an extreme amount or a large amount of blame or credit to those people. Basketball, they have an impact on the flow of the game and who's on the court during the course of a game. But the players in the course have to execute. Football, you literally make the wrong call like last night multiple times, like not calling a timeout, like not calling for a hurry up offense, like running the ball when you shouldn't have and throwing the ball when you shouldn't have. There were multiple times last night where, and even Peyton Manning and Shannon Sharp were screaming about on the Manning cast in the fourth quarter. Neither one of them understood what the game plan was. And you have two Hall of Famers, Peyton and Sharp, who don't understand what they're watching. That's bad. Because if they don't understand what's going on, then what chance does anybody else have to understand? And to me, that is the point where I think that the NFL head coach is a big part of the equation. Coaches in the NFL can make or break things. And I think it's absolutely incredible watching and observing what happens in games like last night. Because games like last night end up being things that utterly turn out to be doomsday scenarios. I think Russell Wilson was impacted by the emotions of the crowd. Russell Wilson's a nice guy. He's a good guy. He's not some volatile dude. So I think that he was unable to muster up the emotion to fight through those emotions. I said it to somebody last night. People like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, these guys have this side to them that they can take that negative energy. They can take all of that negative emotion and turn it into a positive. I don't think Russell Wilson is one of those kind of people. And I think that it grossly impacted him last night. And the Broncos did not do a good job at taking any of that pressure off of him. So you would hope Nathaniel Hackett learns from that situation. On the flip side, I told you guys yesterday that I'm hopeful that for the Eagles, when they play the Lions on Monday Night Football, which you can hear right here on 97.3 ESPN, Merrill Race, Mike Quick on the call, here in your home for Eagles football and NFL primetime games here in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN FM. I'm hoping that Gannon learns from the mistakes, because the stat came out today from Pro Football Focus that the Eagles were the worst tackling team in the NFL in week 1. The worst. The worst tackling team. So when you have a press conference with Jonathan Gannon, where the best he can do is say, we have to clean things up. Or when he turns around and talks about playing Jordan Davis more, he basically just kind of gives a shoulder shrug answer. And he basically says that, they have 5 D tackles to rotate. Well, let me tell you something, folks. You know who played more snaps than Jordan Davis? Marlon Tuipulotu. Yeah, that guy was like a 5th round pick for the Eagles. You traded to get this guy, Jordan Davis. And you're playing Marlon Tuipulotu more snaps than Jordan Davis. And the explanation that the defensive coordinator gives is, hey, man, we got 5 D tackles. They all had to play. They'll all continue to play. And we're going to maximize Jordan Davis's opportunities. I feel like Eagle fans are either going to pull their hair out or want to gouge their eyes out. Because the problem is that you want to hear a defensive coordinator come out with a little more aggression. Like, hey, man, we didn't have a good game. We're evaluating everything. We got to be better. Allowing 35 points is unacceptable. But he didn't really do that. He kind of just played off. And I think the guys in the media did their best to ask the questions, okay? They did their best to get the answers that the fans want from this guy. But when the coach says is that things kind of change from week in and week out, when he says these kind of things, it doesn't instill a lot of confidence if you're an Eagles fan. You literally have a guy in Hassan Reddick whose greatest skill set is to blitz the quarterback. You had him drop back in coverage multiple times. And when he's asked, how do you feel about how he was used? And the defensive coordinator says, I like how we deployed him. That makes me want to pull my hair out, because that kind of context makes you feel insulted. I feel like at some point, there's got to be a difference between these guys not wanting to give too much away in these press conferences and just stop being insulting to everyone's intelligence. Nathaniel Hackett says, now looking back on it, I think I would have done things differently. Well, sure, hindsight 2020 is great. But on the flip side, when you have a defensive coordinator says, oh, well, I like how we handled it. And we can't, I love this quote, we can't let them go up and down the field and score. We have to play a little bit better. I got to coach a little bit better. Yeah, because that ingenuines a lot of confidence from the fan base. You better get better, because if the Lions can score 35 on you, the Vikings are going to score 50 on you, Gannon. Football conversation here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN being brought to you by my friends over at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's in Atlantic City. Listen, Thursday night football, Saturday college football, Sunday all-day football, Eagles, Monday night football. The place to be is at the FanDuel Sportsbook right off the boardwalk inside Bally's in Atlantic City. 10 betting kiosks, 5 betting windows, 13 big screen TVs, and plenty of comfortable seating So just head over to FanDuel Sportsbook for all of your football needs this season and enjoy all of the action. FanDuel wants every bettor's experience to be enjoyable and fun. Visit FanDuel.com/playwell to learn more. Must be 21 or to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. More football talk with Reid Fowler next.
This is the radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football. The Eagles continue the 2022 season Monday night, hosting the Minnesota Vikings at the Link.
Under center is Cousins, who takes his drop. He steps up. He's hit. He's sacked.
Pre-game coverage starts at 7:30 with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick calling all the action starting at 8:30. This is where the Philadelphia Eagles play. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's official Eagle station.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. SpringfieldMitsu.com.
On the south side, we got 6 poly panels. And please, make sure they're flush.
Kwame is converting everyone on the block to solar power.
Please get a crew to wrap up 202 South Dwayne.
He needs more certified installers before the sun sets on his business boom.
Let's pick up the pace. We got a long day.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
When you can't stop, there's Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your... so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks VapoRub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub. Cough relieving is believing.
Straight Talk Wireless knows there are plenty of reasons you might need a new phone. But switching to a better wireless provider doesn't have to be one of them. Keep your own phone and save when you switch to any Straight Talk Wireless plan, like our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with unlimited high-speed data and 5 gigs of hotspot, plus nationwide 5G on America's best networks. Keep your own phone. Switch to a better wireless plan. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Requires a compatible unlocked phone and KYOP kit. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See latest terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
We tried Dynovite nutritional supplement, and after a couple of weeks, we noticed a big difference. Our little Gizmo's coat was shinier, and there was a lot less scratching and shedding.
My dog smelled and scratched constantly. We bathed and sprayed her, took her to the vet, but no results. Now, a little Dynovite in her food helps Bella keep her beautiful coat with no scratching or smell.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynovite. O'Reilly.
Trust the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your car. Like 5 quarts of Mobile One Full Synthetic, now just $33.95, plus earn double O Rewards points. Extend the life of your vehicle, improve performance, and protect your engine against sludge and wear with Mobile One Full Synthetic at O'Reilly Auto Parts and O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations so you get the product you're looking for. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wireless headphones. That'll be $200.
I'll use my Capital One Quicksilver card.
Now that's a hit. You used the Capital One Quicksilver card, which makes you the hero of every purchase. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere.
I wanted running music, but unlimited 1.5% cash back is pretty heroic.
Good instincts. Every hero needs a theme song. The Capital One Quicksilver card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details. Any trade, any trade, any trade. Bring any trade to Matt Platt Nissan, and AJ the Trade Man will give you more for your trade so you can drive away with peace of mind with Matt Platt Nissan's exclusive 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
Oh, yeah, it's on at Matt Platt Nissan.
So cash in your vehicle now before it's too late and drive home in a new Nissan today. Because if you have a job clearing $350 per week, you can be approved today with 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 1.9% financing. Stuck in a loan or lease? Matt Platt Nissan will get you released. Just because you don't see your new Nissan on the lot doesn't mean you can't drive it home tomorrow. MattPlattNissan.com. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle. Interest accrues from date of sale. Not all will qualify. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattPlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 10/6/22. It's on at Matt Platt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
More football talk here on 97.3 ESPN being brought to you by my friends over at Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Visit them online at jenkinsandsons.com. No need to call multiple people for a job. Jenkins technicians do it all. Give them a call at 609-641-6262. So what is a overreaction and what is not an overreaction from NFL Week 1? We're going to try to get some context for things here now. Reid Fowler joins us from DraftKings after a wild and crazy Week 1 because, Reid, I'm sure you, along with everybody else, predicted the Seahawks were going to win last night.
No, but I mean, if I had my initial reaction, if you were Josh sitting next to me in my couch watching that game, you would have heard me say this is the same old expletive, different year, right? Like, how many of these coaches come in here, they get these jobs, you have Russell Wilson, and you have possession receivers. You have a running back who had the highest percentage of broken tackles last year as a rookie, a big-bodied tight end, and you're 4th and 5, and you spend 30 seconds to think about doing that, right? That is the coach's fault in Nathaniel Hackett. I think all of us can agree on that. That was poor management towards the end. This is his first time, so maybe he gets some pass. But kind of now thinking about it, what if this is Russell Wilson too? Because another tweet that I deleted in my drafts, Josh, was because you got to make sure you delete those drafts, people.
Yes. Herm Edwards said, "Don't press send." Okay,
don't press send. Look, Patty Mahomes. You talk of Justin Herbert to an extent, like these guys, Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson. They would have never allowed, and I believe Russell Wilson has this type of influence or this say, as it pertains to the play calling, would have never allowed a 64-yard field goal attempt in that position. They just wouldn't do it. They would say, we're not doing this. And Russell Wilson, I know, was with a new team and a new coach and a new system. Didn't say a single, it didn't look like he was fighting that hard to go for it. So, you started to really play Monday morning quarterback and now Tuesday morning quarterback, and you're a little worried about the Denver Broncos of the longevity of it in those plus minus games where they come down towards the end. That kind of, if you haven't been a parlay, if you haven't been a teaser, that kind of worries you, right? Because they're not going to manage the end of the game very well.
I was saying because you brought up about Russ, I was saying to a professional friend of mine last night, I was saying, is it just me, or is part of the problem the fact that Russell Wilson is a really nice guy? And I think that the booing last night affected him. I don't think he's like Brady or Rodgers or those guys who are like, I'm going to take all of the garbage, we'll call it. I'm going to take all the negativity and I'm going to turn it into positive. I don't think, like you saw a couple times, Russ came off the field. He looked sad, Reid. So, there's part of me that wonders how much of that game could have been helped if Nathaniel Hackett would have got his head out of the sand, looked at his quarterback's eyes and said, how can I take some of this pressure off of him and make things better? You mentioned Williams. They have Gordon. There are times they could have run the ball instead of pass it, and they didn't. And like last night, like you said, why not just call timeout? Why let Russ wander around the field aimlessly as seconds count off the clock?
Right. Yeah. And look, you got KJ Hamler. I mean, you can't tell me that you had all this entire offseason to prepare for this moment, right? And when the schedules come out, you knew that this was going to be the case. And look, from a rating standpoint, from a business standpoint, it was a great game. But if you're a Broncos fan, you have to be worried. You paid this guy $245 million, and you brought in Nathaniel Hackett, and he's supposed to bring that swagger that Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers had, and you saw none of that. I mean, okay, if it was 4th and 18, Josh, or 4th and 20, and you had a 64-yard field goal, fine. But it's 4th and 5. It's not like you don't have the players to do it. It's not like you're rolling out with a 32nd ranked offense, right? So yeah, we can ruminate on this. Hindsight's always 20/20, but when you look at those type of things and what you want to see, right? What you want to see from the Broncos week 2, if you're a fan, if you have futures on them, is that in those situations, do they let Russ cook? Or is it the same old where you don't see the ceiling? You just see the kind of a middling quarterback that the moment, which is weird, felt like it was, like you mentioned, too big for him. And you're right. He is one of those players probably, and I heard this, I forget who sang it, so I apologize not giving credit, is that Russell Wilson is like a method actor playing quarterback, meaning he wants people to think, or at least this is the perception, right? He wants people to think he's a certain type of person or a quarterback that potentially he's not. And if that's coming into it, and we're getting a little meta here on ESPN 97.3 here in Philly, then, that might worry some people who are Broncos fans. And they got a strong team. They have a strong defense. They have key players, skill players on offense, but they play in a tough division. If they don't figure it out, then it's going to be bottom of the barrel for them.
I don't even, this might make it worse, but Hackett said today, and he asked by the media, and he says, looking back on it, we probably should have just gone for it in that situation. And he went on to say, I would have done things differently. And it's like, well, hindsight is 20/20, you just said. So It's like, but on the flip side here in Philadelphia, when Jonathan Gannon was asked about why his defense, played so poorly when they had a 17-point lead and the Lions scored 35 points, his explanation was, we got to play better. We got to coach better. Like, at some point, Reid, I think somebody from the league needs to sit these coaches down and be like, can you guys just stop insulting everybody? Like, stop being Captain Obvious. If you don't want to give an answer, just say that, man. Like, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. That's why I never believe coach talk. I think Sean McVay and some guys, Shanahan's like kind of truthful with what he says. Not really. Mike Tomlin tells you what he's going to do, and he's going to do it. There are a handful of coaches, but Bruce Arians, Pete Carroll. I mean, there's a bunch. We could spend this entire hour naming coaches and players in any sport not giving away. And look, I get it. If I was in that position, would I give away how I'm truly feeling? No, because the media would, they're going to take what they want to take and they're going to spin it. That's what the media. That's what we do, Josh, because we want to talk about things.
Right.
But to your point, look, just come out and say, it's kind of how like Harold Varner III, when he went over to live, he said, this is financially going to set up my family for generations. That was the most eloquent and the nicest way to say, I did it for the cash.
Right.
Some of these guys just could say, we sucked. We sucked on defense.
Yep.
And here's the reason why. And that's it, right? The whole coach talk, I never believe. I'm like Pete Carroll talks about an injury and he says, oh, it's nothing. And then it's basically a career-ending injury. Like I like that is par for the course for these guys. So I never really believe. I never get angry or happy when a coach says something about anything, because I don't believe him at all.
What outcome from week 1 was the most surprising or eye-opening for you, Reid?
Yeah, I mean, you got to worry a little bit about Denver. I know we just talked about that. Kansas City, I wasn't I was one. I early in the preseason, I don't know if the Chiefs can do this. I like the Broncos. Their defense is really strong. High on the Chargers. Obviously, as a Raiders fan, the Chiefs were the team that I thought, okay, maybe they take a step back. But then as we got closer and closer to week 1, I'm like, we're doubting Patrick Mahomes way too much. And this is part and parcel with Arizona. I was very low on Arizona. I have a futures ticket of under 8.5, which looks pretty good right now because their secondary and their defense is not great. And that offense is going to be without their key players, a lot of them, right? Chase Edmonds is obviously gone. D-Hop is not going to be there for another 5 games. So Patrick Mahomes just looks like a guy that could easily win MVP again. If he keeps on doing what he's doing, I know it's not 5 touchdowns every single week, but if he comes out and he does that and the Chiefs look like the Chiefs or better from an efficiency standpoint on offense, and that defense is now getting a lot better, then boy, the Chiefs could, I'm looking at their features, I'm paying more attention to the guys in Kansas City because that could be something that you want to get early on, and maybe it's even too late now. And Washington too, Josh. Washington's offense looks pass first. That was interesting to see as well. So, Carson Wentz, he is a better quarterback than Taylor Heineke, but the Commanders, their offense was looking pretty efficient through the air, and Jahan Dotson looking fantastic as a pickup from Penn State.
Reid Fowler from DraftKings covers the NFL and PGA, joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN at Reid T. Fowler on Twitter. You mentioned Mahomes, and I want to ask you real quick about that because you mentioned about him for MVP. I know my preseason MVP pick was Joe Burrow at plus 1,200. That was the one I felt comfortable with. How much do we have to be careful, though? Because I'll never forget it 2 years ago. The Jags destroyed the Colts. Phillip Rivers didn't look good. The Jags didn't win another game the rest of the year. They went 1-15. So I will never let go of that memory. Like, I saw the Colts and Texans tie on Sunday.
Yes.
There's no way you're telling me that week in and week out, Davis Mills is going to go shot for shot with the best quarterbacks in the league. There's no way that Jacoby Brissett every week is going to lead a game-winning drive to get his team in for a field goal. So, when you talk about Mahomes, you talk about that AFC West. How much do we have to separate, hey, guys, it's week 1 from, I agree with you. I'm watching Mahomes play the Cards, and I literally put on Twitter, I was like, this guy is a football wizard. The man is amazing. So to me, I know that. I've always seen him be a wizard. So where do we draw the line between it's week 1 from guys, you better watch out?
Yeah. And look, Davis Mills right now is plus 15,000 on the DK Sportsbook to win MVP. So if you want to throw a couple shekels on there, Josh, be my guest.
But no thanks.
I wouldn't advise it. But yeah, to your point, right? What do we know about the awards, especially MVP? Well, it's a quarterback award. We know that. The last person to win is Adrian Peterson when the offense was give the running back 30 touches, 35 touches a game. And Adrian Peterson was a medical marvel. He was a physically dominating player at that position, but not necessarily in the boxing ring. Sorry. He got knocked out by Lev Bell. But it's an award that goes to quarterbacks, and it's an award, Josh, that happens to – it's a repeat award as well, right? So when you take a look at those, and then if Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs win that division and, basically do what they're doing, go to 12-5, 13-4, whatever it is, it's playing that division 6 times, and Mahomes doesn't like all the stuff that happens because it's all narrative based as well too, right? Comeback player of the year is all narrative based. That's why Brian Robinson is someone that I'm interested in terms of his outlook and comeback player of the year. But taking a look at Patrick Mahomes, it's like, well, we didn't think he was supposed to play this well because Tyreek Hill's gone. And that was the whole narrative. Travis Kelce, his usage is going down. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they're probably going to trade him. They're probably going to release him. And look what happens, right? Edwards-Helaire scores 2 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes throws for 5. Travis Kelce gets 120-plus receiving yards, right? So when you take all that, and yes, it's over a long, long season, and this is week 1, he's one guy, too, that you just cannot underestimate because, like you mentioned, he pulls rabbits out of the hat. And if that's the case, and the whole rhetoric around Mahomes is this guy keeps on doing it, and now he did it without one of the most explosive players in the NFL, then that's I don't separate the overreaction in week 1 of Arizona's bad and Patrick Mahomes is playing a bad team as opposed to this guy is just amazing with the football in his hand.
Yeah, it's almost like Mahomes on Sunday was doing his own version of Wong from the She-Hulk show, saying, I do real magic. I'm a real wizard. This guy's a fake, Mahomes, like, I'm the real deal, guys.
Right. This Davis Mills guy, get him out of here.
Get this Davis Mills guys out of here.
Yeah.
Couple of things I want to ask you about the NFL, Reid, is In our area, obviously the Eagles are a prohibitive favorite right now to win the NFC East with Dak Prescott going down. But does Washington become that number 2 team now? Do the Giants intrigue you? Like, how are you grading the NFC East? Because I don't care what Jerry Jones says. Jerry Jones can say, oh, Dak's coming back soon. Jerry's also the guy who told me that 1 + 1 can no longer equal 2. It has to equal 3 because that's their mentality to win a Super Bowl down in Dallas. So I don't trust anything Jerry Jones says. So from my eyes, I say the Eagles are the favorite. But who should be the number 2 in your mind that the Eagles better watch out for?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the problem with the Commanders, and this is something they did last year, is their defense played great against bad teams and poorly against good teams. And Philadelphia right now is a good team. They are completely balanced on defense and offense. An explosive alpha wide receiver comes to Philly and A.J. Brown. You have some young talent. I mean, Jalen Hurts looks fantastic, and that defense looks fast. Like, I know some people got hurt on the defensive side, and so you might lose some of that veteran presence, but, I mean, you have youth and you have veterans on that defense, which is exactly what you need to go all the way. But what do we know about Philadelphia, Josh? You, of all people, know this better than anyone, is that when you get to December, when you get to November, can they sustain? Can Sirianni sustain? Because that's when injuries, that's when it's everybody is hurt. Everyone's playing at 50% or less. No one's above that. Can they sustain? And what you like about the Giants is that Brian Daboll wants to win. And he looks at that whole process. What that says to me is a couple of things. One, his mentality is, I have nothing to lose. The Giants aren't supposed to be good this year. We're not. Like, that's basically what he's saying to me. Our team is not supposed to exceed expectation. And number 2, I need to win over this locker room. Once you have players playing for you and you make a move like that, you saw what happened with Sterling Shepard and Saquon Barkley after they scored that 2-point conversion. They went right to Brian Daboll and saying, finally, we have someone in this locker room that believes in us and wants to win.
Yep.
So with that being said, the Giants right now belong at plus 400. If you want to take a bet on that as a hedge to the Eagles, which are to me, they're the clear favorite, and that's completely fine. Kadarius Toney, I want to see more usage out of him, but Saquon Barkley, boy, does he look like a guy who's just ready to take over the number 1 running back role in the NFL. He looks fantastic, Josh, on Sunday.
Yeah, I think Barkley's probably get one of those angry runs from Kyle Brandt on Good Morning Football this year. I mean, I feel like Barkley is in that mentality of like, this is my year to tell everybody I'm healthy and watch out kind of thing.
Yeah. And you heard it too from him. Sorry to cut you off. You heard it from him in leading up to the season. This is the first year where where people are doubting him.
Right.
Every single year of his when he started playing football, and when he was what he was, when he became Saquon, everyone's like, this guy is amazing at this sport. And after the injuries and then after the seasons that he's had, this is the first year that he's saying people are doubting me and I can use that now against, as my motivation. So yeah, he looked fantastic.
What do we take away from the AFC North? Okay. Trubisky, Burrow. I mean, Burrow's not going to play bad every game. Okay. That was just one game. Trubisky, I don't expect him to win every game by scrambling in the pocket to the wrong direction, throw it across his body for a first down that I don't even know how Deontay Johnson caught that one pass. And then Lamar Jackson, obviously he's trying to prove something. The Browns, they're a mess right now. So what do we do with the AFC North?
Yeah, I think you embrace the volatility especially from a betting standpoint, right? Like, embrace the chaos, Josh. Look, I'm not in the Steelers. I just think there's a lot of variables at play, especially if Pickett comes in at some point. Rookie quarterbacks, it's tough. It's really, really tough, especially if you don't profile like a Lamar, like a Justin Herbert, right? Like a Joe Burrow. It's extremely. And look at Burrow. It's he's someone that took a while. The Steelers still don't have a good offensive line, and you mentioned it. The Browns have Jacoby Brissett. With all due respect to the Brissett family, he's not the answer there, and he knows he's not the answer there. So I still think this is a two monster race, and I'm not worried about the Bengals. And here's the reason why too, Josh, is Joe Burrow didn't play. If anything, I don't think he played anything in the preseason.
No, he didn't.
He was going through a recovery and rehab from all of his injuries that he acquired last year in the appendix. So I treated that as a preseason game. And look, T. Higgins went down in the second quarter with a concussion. That's massive, right? Jamar Chase had a great game from a fantasy standpoint. Both Burrow and Chase had a great game. But I'm not too worried. And the reason why as well is they went out and they acquired a lot on that offensive line. So as the season progresses, looking at the Bengals, they're plus 250 right now to win the division. I don't mind that at all. I think it's a really good number because once you see them play, like this week, right, like when they play and they get back to Super Bowl caliber team, that number's going to plummet. That number is going to plummet right now. So I still like the Ravens to win that division, but the Bengals are a nice hedge.
Reid Fowler from DraftKings joining us here, talking football here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. All right, Reid, one more thing before I let you go.
Yep.
It's a bit of an inside baseball question, but I got to ask because it kind of just dawned on me as we were having this conversation. So your cover photo involves two people who are no longer on Good Morning Football anymore. One of them's on CBS, on not even on football half the time. He's on the CBS morning show. Kay Adams has her own morning show on what used to be TVG, now FanDuel TV. So, you know, at what point does that picture become like a reference point of like the before and after for you?
Right. So here's one thing, Josh. That picture is less about the four people from Good Morning Football. It's more about me. That is a fire shirt that I'm wearing. That is an absolute perfect smile from your boy. And that shaka that I'm throwing up is exactly what a shaka should be. Not too tense, right? And here's it from everybody who's listening, who wants to go to Hawaii, who's been to Hawaii, who's thrown up a shaka in a picture. That is how you do it. Go to Reid T. Fowler on Twitter. That's with an I, R-E-I-D. And look at that shaka. You can't tense it up. You got to keep it loose, Shaw. So it's less about Kay Adams. It's less about Nate Burleson. I love those two to death. Peter Schrager is my boy. And Kyle Brandt's fantastic. But look at the guy in the middle, because that's what the picture is about. I'm just kidding. I'm just too lazy to change it, Josh. That's all.
I mean, your explanation there was incredible. I mean, you went way in on that point.
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
You would have been a savant in mock trial club. Okay.
Oh, trust me. How many times my teachers told me that I should get into law, and I said, it's that my work ethic isn't that. Lawyers, they're like, I love to debate. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, Josh. I love to debate. I love to have a good conversation, get a good dialogue going. But you want me to memorize and to read all those no way. I have to precedent. Case law, give me a break. Can't do it.
Well, for all of your football PGA coverage, DraftKings, Reid Fowler joined us today here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Reid, always appreciate you jumping on, and hopefully this meets your expectation.
Don't let the fingers touch the palm. Just keep it loose. Just refer to it. Refer to the picture, John. That's like, I got to keep it up now forever. I got to keep it up.
Well, after that explanation, you have to keep it up.
I will. I'm not changing.
Take care, my friend.
All right, bud.
And our conversation with football here on 97.3 ESPN being brought to you by my friends over at Jenkins. Trust Jenkins, just like we did here for the 97.3 ESPN studio, because when we need to make the studio comfortable with that air conditioner right over my shoulder, that's who we called, and you should too. No need to call the drain guy, the heater guy, or the plumbing guy. Jenkins technicians are trained to do it all. For new heating and air conditioning installation, service and maintenance, ductless air conditioning systems, water heaters, boilers, oil service, plumbing, and drain cleaning services, call 609-641-6262 or visit them online at jenkinsandsons.com. We'll wrap up the show on the other side. Check out what you guys have to say. Text board is open, 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. I'm Josh Hennig on a Tuesday night. It is 6:45.
Ian Eagle here from Thursday Night Football on Westwood One. From Kansas City, it's a big AFC battle to start week 2. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs play host to Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers, with both coming off impressive wins and looking for the early upper hand in what may be the best division in football. Join Hall of Famer Tony Baselli and me on Thursday Night Football.
Listen to Thursday Night Football on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7:30.
Jackpot alert. Both Mega Millions and Powerball jackpots are over $200 million. What would you do with all that cash? Take a chance today. After all, anything can happen in Jersey.
Listen up, South Jersey football fans. Are you interested in solar? Want a free roof? EMT Solar and Roofing has you covered. Visit ESPNsolar.com to see if your home qualifies for a free roof with solar installation. Don't wait, act now. Start saving thousands and virtually extinguish your electric bill. ESPNsolar.com is the place to go for your roofing or solar needs. No commitments, no hidden fees. Go to ESPNsolar.com to see if you qualify.
COVID-19 moves fast, and now you can too. If you feel symptoms, even if they're mild, you should test fast. Test positive and at high risk for severe COVID-19? Then act fast with authorized oral treatments that can be taken at home and must be taken within 5 days from when symptoms begin. COVID-19 moves fast, and now you can too by asking your healthcare provider if an oral treatment is right for you. Learn about a treatment option at treatcv19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
How do you make the most of your land? Everyone has their way. The Nelsons depend on their John Deere Gator XUV 835R to get
from point A to point B with decoys and the dogs.
As much as we got going on, it's all about efficiency.
And if you ask the Mosers what they use their Gator XUV 590M for, they tell you.
The most fun we have on the Gator is just ripping around the property.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. Learn how to make the most of yours at Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Love and Light Wellness Spa, how can I help you today?
Hi there. I'd like to make an appointment for next week.
Excellent. Does Tuesday 9 a.m. work?
Ooh, mornings are when I go to Taco Bell to get my bacon breakfast quesadilla.
Okay.
Yeah, I really don't like missing out on those fluffy eggs and crispy bacon covered in melty cheeses.
Oh, I understand. Let's see what I have in the afternoon.
Namaste.
Try the bacon breakfast quesadilla, only at Taco Bell. At limited participating U.S. Taco Bell locations near you during breakfast hours only, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Contact local store for hours of participation, which vary.
O'Reilly Auto Parts provides more than just the right parts for your repair. Our professional parts people can also offer free check engine light diagnosis. We can scan your vehicle and provide a list of possible fixes. Find the right parts for you or recommend a great local repair shop. Don't ignore your check engine light. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Rezzle is the world's #1 virtual reality sports trainer. Whatever your team, your sport, your ability, improve your game and train like a pro.
Rezzle.
Reactions, performance, accuracy, stamina, resilience. Train at home in the Rezzle Sports and Fitness VR training arena. Search Rezzle, Rezzil.
Harder, stronger, smarter.
The world's #1 virtual reality sports trainer. Available now on MetaQuest.
Wireless headphones. That'll be $200.
I'll use my Capital One Quicksilver card.
Now that's a hit. You used the Capital One Quicksilver card, which makes you the hero of every purchase. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere.
I wanted running music, but unlimited 1.5% cash back is pretty heroic.
Good instincts. Every hero needs a theme song. The Capital One Quicksilver card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You wash your hands and brush your teeth, but what about your nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage pulls saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, dirt, and germs, and it's why nose cleaning is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons: sinusitis, allergies, snoring. things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they also find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Nearly 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying things like, best product I've ever used, and amazing, I love my Navage. That's because Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less. But the biggest payoff is improved health. Here's the key point. Navage is good personal hygiene, and it's going to help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, Target, and online. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Been car shopping lately? What a hassle. Way overpriced vehicles, limited inventories, endless waits for new cars. But that's not the way it is at Bennett Chevrolet. Because Bennett's got the new and used vehicles you want in stock, ready to roll. And get this, Bennett Chevy is selling new Chevys right at MSRP, not 1 cent more. Look around, you'll see. Selling at MSRP is very rare. And to keep your payments low, we've got financing from just 1.9%. And we're still paying a record minimum $7,000 for any trade, and I mean any trade, towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. That's right, we're paying a minimum $7,000 for the worst trade out there. Imagine how much you'll get for a good trade. And at Bennett, you'll love the way you're treated, because our non-commissioned sales team is paid based on your overall satisfaction, not how much you spend. Come see how easy car buying can be when you find new roads at Bennett Chevy. Egg Harbor Township and BennettChevy.com. With GMF financing approved credit, excludes Corvette and prior sales.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, a couple more things to get to before we get out of here. Of course, if you want to get a comment in, text board is open, 609-403-0973. Also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. A couple things before we get out of here. I want to get to this really quick about the Phillies because you know, the Phillies start their road trip right now. They're in Miami. And this is going to be, in my opinion, what makes or breaks this team. Because as I've told you guys before, I'm working under the assumption that the Phillies are going to go to the postseason, okay? They're 78-62 right now. The only way you need to win 12 more games to get to 90. And if I run through this schedule, just hear me out for a moment. You got 4 games in Miami. Let's assume you win 3 out of 4 there. You got 3 out of 4 there. You got 3 games in Atlanta. Let's say you only win 1 of those games, just for argument's sake, because you got Reid, Odorizzi, and Strider for those 3 games. So let's assume you lose 2 out of 3, okay? So right now you're only at 4 wins. You come home and play Toronto for 2 games. Let's say you win 1 out of 2. Now you're at 5. You got a 4-game set against Atlanta at home. Let's say you split that series. You get 2 out of 4 with them, okay? Well, guess what? Now I'm at 7 wins over this stretch. You go to Chicago. Let's say you find a way to get 2 out of 3 against the Cubs, all right? Then you go to Washington for 4 games. Let's say you win 3 out of 4 against Washington. Okay, well, now I'm at 12. And let's say you go to Houston, you win 1 out of 3 against Houston the following week of the season. That's 13. Winning 13 more games is not a stretch. So to me, the bigger question is not about the Phillies making the postseason, because I think reasonably, I just gave you a rundown of the schedule, they can win 13 games. They need 12 wins to get to 90. That means they could have 91 wins by the end of this season, and it wouldn't be that unreasonable. The larger question for the Phillies is what type of team they will be heading into the postseason, because it's obvious that without Castellanos in the lineup the last couple weeks, that they have struggled at times to score consistently. They have not been a consistent offense. During that home stretch, when they won 5 out of 6 games against the Marlins and the Nats, they were an inconsistent ball club offensively. If they can just find their rhythm going into the postseason, they can win that first round series. It's not outside of the question. Like I said, this series is going to be very interesting. You get the 3 games in Miami, the 4 games in Atlanta. You're going to find out how resilient this team is because you know what? No Wheeler anytime soon. You have Falter pitching twice tonight and then next Sunday during this road trip. And then to flip it all around, you know who's also pitching during this road trip? You got Gibson, Syndergaard, Suarez, Nola once. So you got to make sure you go out there and get the job done with the bats. This will be an opportunity to find out, can they take some of the production they had, 8 runs on Saturday, 7 runs on Sunday, you had yesterday off, and you parlay that success into this road trip. Look, should they win all 3 games in Miami? They should. Will they? Probably not. That's how I look. All right, I'm Josh Hennig. Appreciate Reid Fowler for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow for a Wednesday edition of Game Night. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff. Learn.
All right, if you're still watching, appreciate you guys watching on YouTube. You can follow me, my YouTube channel, of course, Josh Hennig on YouTube. Hit the like button, subscribe. Appreciate you joining the conversation, joining us here on Game Night each day throughout the week. Before we get out of here, I just wanted to review with you. You guys know I like to review the picks, like to review what we did right, what we did wrong kind of thing. So here we go. The NFL picks did not do as well as the other picks. And I think part of that was because I was hard with Reid Fowler. It's just so much happened that was unexpected. There were so many things that happened over the weekend that were not expected. So let's run them down real quick. First of all, I obviously got the Bills-Rams game wrong. I thought that was going to be a high-scoring game, and the Rams offense just looked completely inept with an offensive line that couldn't block for the quarterback. And I think that you look at the Rams, the Cowboys, and the Packers, and the Bucks, and you realize that those are 4 teams. 3 of those 4 teams lost. And they lost because of their offensive line. And realistically, you could argue the only reason why the Bucks won was because they were playing the Cowboys. So moving forward, when we talk about games, when we break them down, I think we got to factor in these offensive lines because you look at my picks, and I got to say, offensive line play had something to do in these picks. I thought that the Panthers and the Jags would both win their games, and they both lost their games on Sunday. And I think a big part of it was the guys in the trenches, the guys whose job is to block for the quarterback. I think that the Panthers have more talent than they displayed on Sunday, and that's part of the reason why they lost. They didn't play up to their abilities. I thought the Jags had the game in hand. They got 2 interceptions off of Wentz, but they gave Washington too many shots to score, too many opportunities to score. And that's why Carson Wentz was able to pull the rabbit out of the hat, because you have a situation with a quarterback who has talent. And I think that is the bigger thing moving forward. We have to remember that a team like the Chiefs, a team like the Ravens, a team like the Bucks, these teams have more talent. So they're going to win more games than they're not. And the same thing for the Broncos. Look, one of the things I got wrong over the weekend was I thought Russell Wilson over 1.5 touchdowns. I said it to Reid Fowler earlier. I think that Russell Wilson was impacted negatively emotionally by the booing. You could tell in his eyes that it shook him a little bit. He's just not a spiteful person. He's not an individual who has a dark edge to him. So it's hard for a guy like that to take that energy and parlay it into positive production because it's not in his nature. So these are all little things that we can take from week 1. I'm a big believer in learning from things. Now, maybe Jonathan Gannon doesn't, or at least he says he doesn't. But I do believe it. Listen, for as much as I criticize Nathaniel Hackett for his coaching yesterday, I give him credit for owning his mistakes today. And I think that when it comes to whether it's football analysis or anything, we have to realize who and what people are. And here's what we realized. Number 1, the Ravens are a good football team. And they're going to be a team that you have to watch out for all season long. Number 2, the Panthers are an inconsistent ball club. If they can find the consistency, they can be a playoff team. Jacksonville has talent. They have a good head coach, Doug Peterson. But you can't be in a situation where you think you're going to win the game. The other team takes the lead. You have 1:05 left on the clock, and you don't put up a better effort to try to get that touchdown lead back. I understand Jacksonville's a young team, but they got to learn from that. They got to be better. They got to grow. As Reid Fowler said earlier today, Patrick Mahomes may win the NFL MVP because he's doing without Tyreek Hill, and he looked amazing against the Cardinals. I think the Bucs and Cowboys both have horrible offensive lines, but one team's got Tom Brady, and the other team has Cooper Rush for the next 6 weeks, basically. So I still hold by my idea that maybe Mike McCarthy does get fired at the bye week. Maybe a little less likely now that he can use the I don't have Dak Prescott excuse in his back pocket. I think as the season progresses, Russell Wilson will get better. I think the Broncos still win 10 games this year. And I think last night's game was an anomaly. I don't think it's the norm. I don't think it'll be like that every single week. So those were my biggest takeaways from NFL Week 1 for all of you watching on the YouTube channel. You can follow me on Twitter at Josh Hennig. You can subscribe, like Josh Hennig here on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in each day. And I'll catch you tomorrow for Game Night. Broadcast live on 97.3 ESPN FM. Stream live here on Josh Hennig's YouTube channel. That's me, Josh Hennig.